Hello to all the mob out there and welcome to our Deadly Vodcast or Vodcast podcast. We are talking all things families, Mums and Bubs special. So firstly, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Cruz, Ambassador for Deadly Choices. I'd also like to have a yarn. We've got Christy Wattigo, birthing and early childhood manager. Mickey Locke, receptionist at Bioc, which is birthing in our community, and she's actually pregnant with her first baby, which is beautiful. Yvette Bates, who's Mums and Bubs midwife, and I think one of the unsung heroes of, having babies. I definitely think I think you do everything, and you're amazing. And dialing in, we've got Megan Garth, who is a senior clinician, clinical psychologist, joining us today. Hello, Megan. And also, if you haven't already shared this link for our session today, please make sure you're sharing it to all your networks. There is a recorded version that will be available on the Deadly Choices Facebook page after if anyone misses it. So firstly, we will cut to some ads and then we're going to come back and have a good yarn about the Mums and Bubs special. See you soon. While antenatal care shouldn't change, the way in which it's being conducted may change just a little. Give us a bell at the hub if you need to yarn.
While we're doing things a little bit differently at the moment, you can now get your 715 health check from home, meaning it's the deadliest way to keep your health on track. Complete your health check via video teleconference or over the phone and you'll get your hands on one of the deadly shirts. So be deadly and live healthy. Book your telehealth appointment now at any participating community-controlled health service.
Hello to all the mob out there and welcome back to our Families podcast. We're talking everything Mums and Bubs special. But before we go into that, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land in which we meet today and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. And firstly, we might head to Christy Wattigo. Sister, we want to have a bit of a yarn about obviously what's happening in terms of COVID-19 and how we can be looking after ourselves and our mums, new mums and our babies, etc. But before that, we might go into Bioc and what it actually is and who can access it and how you can access it.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
So morning all you fellas out there. So Bioc, Birthing in Our Community, I have the great honour of actually leading two programs here in IUE. Bioc is one of them, and it's a partnership with AICS, IUE and the Mater Hospital. Mm-hmm. So any mum that's birthing an Indigenous baby up at the Mater comes on our program.
Awesome.
It's a beautiful program where our families get invited to come to a local hub and get their care through their antenatal period and 6 weeks postnatal.
Yeah, and where are those local hubs?
So that hub is actually based at Salisbury, just 10 minutes south of the Mater, so not too far, and we offer transport, those different wraparound services to our families.
Oh,
so
deadly. And Gammon, like I'm asking you questions, but I know all about Bioc because I went through it with my third baby, and I got to say, like I had both my two sons privately, and then when I came to Bioc, and I'm not just saying that because you mob are sitting in front of me, I'm actually being true God here, is that it was the best ever program that I went through, my own personal midwife, you mob at Salisbury were just amazing and just, step by step, even though I was having my third baby and you think you should know everything about having a baby by then, you still don't.
Yep. And
the most amazing thing was that UMOB still stepped me through it. You know what I mean? And I suppose for somebody like myself being a mother for the third time, but always, I suppose, having sport come before me and everything, any sort of ball that I touched and I knew I was going to be good at, whether it was a footy or a, soccer ball or whatever, I had a good crack at, But when it came to mothering, that was such uncharted waters and I did not have a clue what I was doing. You know what I mean? And so for me, UMOB putting me through that once again, just made me have that confidence as well. And I thank you for it. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and you wanted to speak about the...
Well, the other thing can I say too, I think it takes a lot of courage to actually acknowledge that too. Third time being a mum, you expect this stuff comes naturally. That's always, not the case.
No.
So it's awesome. I went through the program with my third boy too in my late 30s. Not that needs to be mentioned.
Same, don't
but
worry.
What? Every baby's different and every experience is different. And so you've got to be open to these different learning opportunities, only to make you the best mum that you can be.
100%. And I think by the third time, like, because I suppose, and no one knows this, but I'll put it out there on live Facebook, my biggest issue was bathing, like bathing my babies. Like from my first son, I remember my husband walking into me crying my eyes out, just not being confident. And I was always confident. Like I was always confident in everything I did, but giving my baby a bath was crazy scary for me. And like by the third time, and I even was still asking my midwife, any tips about bathing my baby.
And how great is that to have a midwife at the end of the phone to be able to call and say, hey sis, what's this? Family support worker. But not only birthing in our community, we've got an additional program, ANFPP. It's also based on the north side as well as the south. Awesome. And it's an opportunity for first time mums to actually get a nurse or a midwife through the journey of bub being born and up until baby's 2 years.
Wow.
And like Yvette was saying, it's basically like your mama coach.
Yeah, like a parenting coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even
it's
though
an awesome opportunity.
Yeah, did you want to comment on anything about that?
I just, for me, from my perspective as a midwife who sees women, when I see women who are linked in with the ANFPP, they're far more confident, not just in their ability to parent their babies, but in their overall ability to achieve the best for themselves in their life and what they want for themselves and their family. It just builds up that confidence in our first-time mummies so dramatically.
What an amazing program. Like, it's deadly. Honestly, like, I wish I would have known about it. I had my coaches, I suppose, for parenting were my mums and my sisters and my mother-in-law. Hey, and I mean, no two kids are the same. No. They're all, and I'm going through that right now.
Some of our mums don't have that support around them of close family. They may be interstate or somewhere else, and so they build up a family through the ANFPP as well, not just having their nurse who supports them, but also the other mums and dads who are in the program.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I suppose that takes us into our yarn about, staying connected during COVID-19 and, and we'll go to all of you, even Megan, she's dialing in. We'll go to you in a second, but staying connected during this time, COVID-19, I mean, if you're a first mum, even a mum for the fourth time, I suppose these times are pretty rough because when you have a baby in the first sort of 6 months, you feel isolated anyway.
Absolutely.
So at the moment, like with not having Mob come and see you not be able to take baby out and go for yarns and coffees and even, to some point we were restricted with exercising, because we know a lot of exercising helps especially release a lot of those things that you need to be released and getting fit again, you know what I mean? So I suppose, what's some, I suppose, ways that our mob can, or our ladies and our dads can stay connected during these times? Megan, I might go to you first. What are some tips or what are some ways we can stay connected, I suppose, by socialising or whatever else?
Yeah, so I'm a psychologist and I'm also 28 weeks pregnant at the moment too.
Oh, I forgot to mention, sorry.
For me, what I've been doing is, yarning over the phone with my friends and family, doing a lot of video calls. And now that restrictions are slowly easing, we are able to do more things. So get out there, have a picnic, maintain that physical distance of 1.5 metres, but still stay socially connected. So I think it's important to remember, even though we have to be physically distant, to stop the spread of the virus, we can still be socially connected to others.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, and I suppose there are some things online as well that you can be staying socially connected, and I'll put one out there as Deadly Kindies. That was pretty awesome yesterday. I was on that show. But yourself, Yvette, what do you think might be some of the ways that people can stay connected?
So there are a lot of Facebook groups, for example, for first-time mums, for second-time mums, for mums in different areas so that they can link in with mums wanting to have a vaginal birth after caesarean, for example, and that can be really helpful, along with what Megan said of linking in with family and friends, and also staying in touch with your providers, so your midwife or your GP, your BIOC, your Narromah, depending on where you're birthing.
Yep.
They can provide support, and we have family support workers who can also link in. We hope to be able to bring back our Mums and Bubs drop-in groups as restrictions continue to be lifted, and that will be a great opportunity. But we actually often encourage our first time, well, all of our mums with babies under 6 weeks to kind of stay away anyway because those babies haven't had immunisations yet.
100%.
So this is just kind of reaffirming that.
Yeah, and can I just say, like, to all the family and friends out there, if you have somebody special in your family, whether it be your son, your daughter, your niece, nephew that are having babies, don't get offended if you have not had any of your whooping coughs and you aren't invited to see that baby at 6 weeks old, because it's just something that we, as mums and dads, brand new, we can't afford you guys coming around our children when you haven't had the appropriate, immunisation or whooping cough especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't get offended.
And I would say flu vax too, since we're coming into flu season. And they're quick and easy. Like, they're really quick and easy for us to do. Yeah,
just don't get offended. Get over it. Don't take it personal. We're just putting number one first, and that's our babies. And Mickey, we might move on to you, sis. You're pregnant, 28 weeks. Congratulations. So beautiful. I get so happy when I hear other people.
I miss being pregnant.
Yeah, because I know what you're about to, the journey you're taking,
First
the journey
time
you're about to take. You're a first-time mum, and I suppose this for you, even support right now as a first-time mum, you got to be feeling a little bit of anxiety or a bit anxious, and at this time it's probably elevated a bit, isn't it? Yeah.
I've cried plenty of times, especially when the restrictions with COVID really knuckled down. I struggled a lot just being at home, or I'm lucky that I still am at home with my mum, so I have that additional support. But especially with my older cousins and seeing all of them, it was hard for even them to not see me in the first sort of stages of being pregnant. But I'm lucky that now things are lifted and you can kind of see people, even if it's just one-on-one, even if it's for 20 minutes, you still have that support, that dosage that you need. But working with BIOC as well and going through the program, I'm lucky that I have those girls as well to lean on for different support, because they're all fantastic mums and they all have different journeys. So it still is great to just go, hey, I'm not feeling right. If I'm at work or I've got a headache, and I can just walk around the corner and see my midwife. So awesome. I'm very thankful for that. But it was hard.
Yeah, and I suppose like even the restrictions aren't lifted fully. Like you want to have a baby shower, sis. You know? And,
definitely.
And like that should be something that all first-time mums go through, because it's a lovely time. You know what I mean? What have you spoken about that? What are some of your plans going to be?
Hopefully, I can.
Yes.
In that mid-July, hopefully he doesn't come too early. And it's having a boy. Yay. So hopefully I can. I'd like to, just to have everyone together. Yeah. And
celebrating your little bundle of joy.
That's all I want. Just to have, my mob together as well as my partners, and kind of gelling that relationship and that partnership, because, everyone's going to be around son. So that's my main goal.
Yeah, we'll cross our fingers, sister, that happens for you. If not, we can do a big virtual one.
Yeah,
we can do a big virtual one.
Got to wait till the 6 weeks after he's born too.
You might,
The thing to keep in mind too is that you can always do a welcome to country 6 months after the fact. Baby doesn't. You don't have to just celebrate the upcoming birth.
That's a great idea.
You can wait till he's 3 months, 6 months, when it is nice and safe, and you can have all mob there to be able to celebrate and really embrace in the cultural connection that is the birth of your baby and the unity of those families. That's even more powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's like his 0.5 birthday.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Spoiled too.
/ baby shower.
Because I mean, with our elders and stuff as well, we can't have them be, around us.
That's right.
So it's the two tiers. It's like we have our elders, and then we have our new babies being born. Yeah. And you just kind of don't
got to keep them away from each other.
That's right. Got to keep them safe.
And what about you, Christy, sis? Like, what's some social connection that I suppose you've seen a lot of mums come through through the clinic. What are some of the things that might have, you've seen in terms of COVID-19 and them maybe struggling with, or even positives that might come out of it?
We really focus on those positives, I suppose. We've got an opportunity that's been presented to us at the moment, and we can't change the environment, right? But what we can do is make the best of it. And one of the things is that you get to connect and sit still with your baby, which only just strengthens the bond and the connection that you have with the little movements, you know?
Beautiful.
So being able to be still and enjoy that journey and that connection is so powerful. Where prior to C19, we're all so hectic and juggling everything and being this superpower woman.
I'm a big believer in you got to be where your feet are a lot of the time. Like you see, prior to this, you see a lot of mob that and I know a lot of people that are like, they're there, present, their body's there, but that mind is
absolutely everywhere else. Absolutely.
So that's a really good point.
And it's not only just for you and baby, but your partner. You know, invite him in. Read some books, sing, yarn, you know, because baby certainly hears and connects with dad's voice as well. That's so powerful. So you have the opportunity to be able to focus on that unity, you know, that creation of a family unit, you know, where you probably didn't get that before, where you got mum, aunties, sisters, everyone coming in saying this is how you do it. Well, you know, you get to opt out of that.
that are not officially midwives.
So you get to naturally opt out of that this time around, you know, so that's the positive as well.
100%. Oh, that's lovely, ladies. Thank you for some of that. And I mean, we'll move on to self-care during COVID. I mean, we just sort of spoken about, you know, you're focusing on yourself, you're present, you're being where your feet are, you're controlling the controllables, you're not worrying about the things that you can't control. Megan, we might head to you, Dal. What are some tips, I mean, around self-care during COVID? And as we spoke about, everybody, not just new mums and not just new dads, it's just everybody at this moment are feeling so isolated. And even if you've got kids at home, like I know for myself, there was one stage where I was at home for 2 weeks with my 3 children. I mean, that's the role of mum, but that's not our normal lifestyle, you know what I mean? Normally my babies are off at daycares, my son's at school, I go to work, you know what I mean? So then transitioning into this sort of new way of life was pretty hectic, even though that's the role of me. You know, I'm the mum and my dad and the dad, and, you know, we're there to care for our children, but it was pretty hectic at that time.
Yeah, absolutely, ladies. I agree with what you've already touched on about focusing on what you can control. There's been a lot of uncertainty with this virus, but there's still so much that we can do that's within our control. So I agree with what you've said about keeping up your routines and being mindful and being in the present moment. So appreciating the positives, like Christy said, which might be more time connecting with family. You might have more time to catch up on hobbies or things that you've been putting off. And just looking after your general well-being too. So remembering to keep up with exercise, healthy diet, a good sleep routine, and just keep things in perspective. So I think at times we all get a bit worried or anxious and think about the future, but bringing ourselves back to the here and now is really helpful to just appreciate what's going on right here, right now, and accept that it's okay to be worried at times, but things will get better.
Awesome. Some great advice. Thank you, Megan. And I might head to the young son hero. Yvette, you probably seen a lot of this in the last, I suppose, 4 months that COVID's been around. What are some of the self-care that obviously you've been advising some of the patients and the new mums or the mums of 4 at this time? What are some of the things that you've been advising those ladies and husbands?
It's been similar to actually what's been mentioned, is just taking some time for yourself, making sure you've got time to, even if it's putting baby in a stroller and going for a walk around the block, or just some quiet time lying and resting during the day, taking photographs, which are really huge and can be shared, and that's something that we should always consider with our pregnant women, taking those photographs to regularly see the growth, because we all like to look back and go, oh wow, look at how beautiful I was then.
Yeah.
And just not being shy about linking in. Sometimes I'm still doing a lot of home visiting through this, and so sometimes part of my visit will be just sitting having a yarn about what's happening. So feeling free to do that, whether it's online, over the phone, with family and friends, is still really, really important.
Yeah, and I suppose for like with pregnant women now is probably the time to get prepared as well.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's not, I suppose that's not just for the giving the birth of your baby, but that's like all those other things, like Centrelink and stuff like that. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Yeah.
So birth is one day. Like, I mean, we make a huge deal about it, but it really is one day. And yes, it is a huge day. Absolutely.
We might go there.
A couple of hours. But it's the coming home with your little person afterwards, and the massive adjustment, especially for first-time mums, but for all mums, of having another baby in the house. So other things that women can do to get prepared are things like preparing meals and snacks, and having those, you know, in the freezer. And a lot of family are looking at how they can help during this time.
That's lovely,
One of my mummies this week, her sister did a big Woolworths order for her online, and had it sent to her house this week, and I went and saw her on Tuesday, and she's like, look at all this food my sister sent, because she wants to make sure that I'm eating really well.
And she's prepared.
And so just beautiful things like that is where we can be helping.
100%. And Mickey, like for yourself, sis, you know, it's so important about you're pregnant at the moment, so you don't have any children, but your self-care, what have you been doing to look after yourself and making sure you're giving the best opportunity for yourself and your baby and your partner?
I definitely think that like exercising, getting out in that fresh air and kind of stepping away from your home or your workplace, kind of spending time outdoors, that's definitely a big thing in our household. But also I have the chance now to mentally prepare, because I really have no idea. You know, you hear stories from, you know, your mum, your mother-in-law, aunties, cousins. But we've all had different experiences and things like that. So I think it's just mentally preparing for me. And also I have extra time now to get things ready. Now that I'm a couple of months out, it's like, okay, we've got to really knuckle down and make this space safe and comfortable for when he's here. Otherwise, you know, if, some women are working full time like I am, and they can't get away from work. Then it puts that rush on. So I'm quite grateful that I can.
It's chilled. It's a bit of a chilled time. That's your positive.
Because if you're not chill, he's not going to come out chill. So I definitely think that's kind of how I've been. But it is hard. You can't, some days are just so much harder. You go to the shops now and there's like 1 million trillion people, so anxiety's through the roof, but you have to go. So it's those little prep things, and I think being out in the fresh air, and we go for walks down at Wynnum, and it's near that water, and you're connecting back to land and everything like that is most important.
Beautiful. That's awesome. And Christy, for you, I suppose you would have seen a lot of ladies obviously come through. And is there any advice you've been giving in terms of self-care? Obviously.
One of the biggest things I say to everyone is it's okay to not be okay as well. That's really important to accept that, and there will be times where you'll be just absolutely, killing it and you're fine. But then in a heartbeat, you won't be. And that's completely okay. And just walk through that process. Just live that moment and allow yourself to be unhappy for whatever reason or uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with it, because we've all done it. Most of us hide from it, or hide it and make out, no, I'm all good.
Make out as if we're, Superwoman.
You don't have to, because we all know. We all know. And you look at first-time mums and you go, oh, darling, you wait and see what's coming your way. Because you know what's going to happen. But it's worth it. But it's okay to not be okay. Always remember that.
That's the unknown. Definitely. Like when you're first-time mum, it's like the unknown. But like you said, you go down in a slump, and then the next day you're like, I feel real deadly and I feel awesome.
Exactly.
So,
and nighttime always gets worse. I always notice that if you're feeling down on a day, the nighttime is the worst time of that day. And so things seem to get worse at night, you know what I mean? Even though things aren't happening, your anxiety and your feelings get worse at night, and then you wake up the next day and you go, what the bloody hell was I
Or
even
you're waking up at like
going
2
on
a.m.
before? Yeah. Like, you know,
Can't sleep.
today's a new day, and I can you know, make that a lot better.
But the other thing is a lot of our families think, a lot of our mums think self-care means a pedicure or all this expensive stuff. That's not the case. You know, write down those little things like you talk about at night time for yourself. For me, if I'm not chilled, I have to go and have a warm shower.
Yeah. 100%,
And it could be as simple as that, just a warm shower or a quiet cuppa somewhere, you know? Or just
for myself, I go for a run.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done my whole life. Like,
yeah.
as much as, you know, I've got 3 babies, sorry, and I've played sport all my whole life. So that's all I've ever known. You know what I mean? And I know myself. I've got to look after myself. If I'm not good, how are my children going to be good?
Yeah, that's it.
You know, how am I going to look after my babies? So give me 40 minutes to go for a run, and it's like a new
Power
bo's
up.
come back into the house, you know? I was schizo before, but let me go for a run, get that schizoness out,
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
it.
you know,
Burn
next
the
minute,
energy.
I'm mum, back to mum.
Yeah.
So everybody's got to have their certain ways of self-care, you know what I
that's
mean? And what, like you know, it could be a nice cup of tea somewhere, them
Hot
kids just need
shower.
to get away from me.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like, and we're saying there's not a, you know, we've got the ANFP, the sort of
PP, yeah, that's
PPP, you know, they're amazing. You know, like I said, I wish I would have had somebody like that, but there's no instruction manual to be a mother or a father or a parent or a carer for a child, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's okay, you're normal. Like all the feelings that you're feeling of like, oh, I wish this, you know, kid would just leave me for 1 second. That's normal. And I've found that having that conversation with somebody and finding out that, you know, that is something that you might go through, Christy, or, you know, that you've been through. Oh, holy shit, I'm normal.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean? This is just a normal thing.
I think what Christy said before about it's okay not to be okay is really important to acknowledge, because I think especially as women we feel like we need to hold it all together.
100%.
I often say to mums, if you're feeling like you need that time out, do put your baby somewhere safe. Put them in the cot or the bassinet or with somebody else and go and
Stay away from them.
have that 10-minute shower where you can just chill or scream or cry or whatever it is you need to do.
Get it out.
We need to acknowledge that we're all going through really tough times and how we care for ourselves during that, but also how we teach our children that sometimes things are not okay, and we need to acknowledge that and we need to work through that together and learn and move on.
Yeah, great advice. That's really, you know, that is really important that we teach our children that as well.
Absolutely.
Like, it's okay not to be okay, but you do have support and you you know. Oh, awesome, ladies. I love this yarn. This is pretty deadly. Because I think I might have needed this, you know what I mean, to go, well, this is, you know, like I'm just pouring it out. Yeah, exactly. So we'll move on to socialisation and development for bubs during COVID-19. Everybody's really, really scared, I suppose, or was scared in terms of, you know, the whole COVID-19, and we knew that, you know, young children and babies, you know, if they were to contract this virus, we might not see the symptoms, and, you know, when the babies are carriers, the kids are carriers, but they won't get as sick as what an adult will. So that was pretty scary. But I suppose, you know, at this time, everything pretty much stays the same, doesn't it, in terms of development for bubs?
Absolutely.
Like, nothing changes. You still go, like, if you've got a brand new baby, you're still doing all your checkups. You're still doing, you know, making sure that you're looking out for signs of certain things. Like, the development is still the same. So I might head to you for that one.
So our babies are sponges and they learn from us. So there are lots of things that we can do as new parents and with our extended family, if they're available to us, as we become a little bit more social again. Things like having face-to-face time where you're focusing on your baby and you're playing little games like poking your tongue, smiling, and watching your baby respond, watching when they go cross-eyed because they're really focusing, which is a really good sign. Reading to our babies, also structuring in some of their day, which can be almost impossible with a new baby, but having that pattern of when they'll eat, they'll play, they'll sleep.
Yep.
Really important things like tummy time.
Yep.
All of these things can be achieved with one person looking after a baby or with a team of people looking after a baby.
100%.
So
because a lot of that stuff is done at home anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So it's probably really important, and it's probably a good time to connect. I know with my children, I've a lot more reading, a lot more
And
one-on-one
reading-
stuff, funny, having laughs,
yeah.
being silly, on the bed,
Singing,
and being
playing.
exactly. I've done a lot of that.
Reading is a huge
Yeah.
gift we can give to our children.
Yep.
So the more we read to our children, all of the research tells us, the better it helps them to develop language and their own ability
Awesome.
in the future. So we can do really simple things, and it doesn't have to be all the baby books that bore us to
Yeah.
tears. We
Yeah.
can read from different mediums, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
It's about that rhythm and the words we're using,
Yeah.
and interacting with the babies during
Yeah.
it. And our children, honestly, they love it.
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely.
And they're
love
little,
it.
like you said, they're little sponges. You could tell them anything and they believe it.
well, maybe be a little careful with that.
Yeah. We could just say, we won't go there. I've done that a few times just to be able to get them to go to bed. But Megan, we might head to you, and I'll talk to you as a mum now, obviously not as a professional. Like socialisation development for Bubs, you're about to have a baby. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to in terms of the development of your baby?
Yeah, I think Yvette had like some lovely suggestions, and I hope that I can do a lot of those. So I'm looking forward to reading all of the childhood books to my bubba that I enjoyed as a kid, and cuddles and tummy time and taking photos and going for walks with the pram and the dog. Just soaking up that quiet time. I think, like you ladies said before, it might be a bit of a silver lining with this COVID situation that as a new mum, I'll get to have that little bubble with my baby and my husband with not many other people around. So I'm looking forward to just soaking that up and enjoying every moment.
Yeah, I don't know if you Mum can see the happiness and the smile on her face as she's talking about it, which is
glowing.
Glowing, 100%. Like it's just really nice to see that. It's really refreshing. And Mickey, yourself, there's so many things that you're going to see in terms of your development of your baby in the next, obviously when you're due in August, and what are you really looking forward to? That time with your bub in the first forever. Yeah. You've got him forever, sis. Don't worry. He can be married with his own kids and you've still got him forever. I know, because I'm still, my parents are like that with me. So, what are some of the things you're looking forward to?
I guess like Megan said as well, just the cuddles and really spending that one-on-one time and him getting to know him, but him getting to know me as well outside of being in my stomach, but just seeing all the developmental stages and experiencing it for myself. Obviously you see it with different mob and nieces and nephews, but I guess for me it's just experiencing it myself as a new mum, and seeing him change, I think, is what I'm most excited about. And just seeing what he looks like. That's because you can guess all you want and he could come out completely no, I think definitely having him here and then kind of wrapping him up in a little bubble just for a little bit until things kind of ease up, and you get that one-on-one time that, you don't really get afterwards when they're running around and they're back chatting and all that. So,
You wait, sis.
Yeah, can't wait.
And Christy, you've probably got one of the biggest roles within the BIOC program, and that's, managing the two teams that are going out there and giving these, I suppose, the advice and around the development and how we can be looking after our bubs and trying to keep everybody on that same track when it comes to development. What's some of the things that you've had to sort of, don't, and for yourself it would have been like, what am I going to do, this COVID-19 thing, but you've had to stay focused. You've done an amazing job. So, what are some of the things that you've been advising your staff when it comes to giving advice to new mums and dads about the development and stuff in this time?
Yeah. So, look, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. It is about keeping healthy and safe as well. Making sure that we're washing hands, that you aren't moving baby from person to person. You know who's coming into your home, you know where they've been, you know. You're keeping your home clean, those types of things. That's just keeping baby safe. But nothing changes in regards to their developmental stages, milestones, and you can get plenty of resources off of our websites and our Facebook pages to be able to understand what that looks like. We're about to launch a new app called Deadly Mums.
Awesome.
You know, that gives you some insight to what you can expect from baby as well, you know, and resources that you can draw down on. So just another option for you to look out for.
Yeah.
So that's been great. But, you know, again, it's important to continue with your antenatal care, your postnatal care, making sure that that's a priority, you know, because you need to make sure, because like Yvette said, the birth is a day in your life, but we're here to raise a strong black deadly family, you know, and that's more than a day, and you've got to invest that time, you know, so it's important that you remain focused on that and but open to learning about what that means, you know.
Yeah, 100%. And we might move into that, like staying up to date with your perinatal and antenatal care, your immunisations, like you're a mum, you might be pregnant, but you can still get the flu shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Things like that. So I think a lot of people are unaware that, oh, will this hurt my baby? Will it hurt me? You know, will it hurt the birth? Like, flu shot, you can still get it. So making sure you're keeping up, you know, immunisations. You know, you're still going to all of your antenatal appointments, you know, your scans, all that stuff is so important, especially at this time, would you say?
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there have been a few changes in antenatal care. For example, once you're linked in with a hospital, some of the hospitals are doing a lot more telehealth or you're not seeing them for as many appointments. But you've got to remember there are other people who provide your care. So your midwife in the community, your GP. Our GPs love antenatal and postnatal care.
I can imagine.
And so, you know, the idea of a mummy coming in to check on how her and Bub are going, that's paradise for them. So don't be shy. And our team also in our clinics are doing appointments in person, over the phone if necessary, and then there are some of us like myself who are going out and doing antenatal and postnatal appointments at people's houses.
Yeah, and don't forget, like if that is the case, a lot of our clinics and a lot of our staff, especially our midnight wives, know that there are restrictions and know that they've still got to keep their 1.5 unless they are doing a physical examination.
Absolutely.
And you know, we're still professional. You guys are still professional. You still got to follow every other rule that every other organisation does. So don't be scared that, you know, they're going to be just coming in there and, you know, forcing, you know, things. It's actually going to be the whole 1.5 distancing. It's, you know, you hit the hands. And I think you guys do that anyway, you know, washing hands, you do all the right things anyway. So it's just a bit elevated and it's a bit more, it's like it's on steroids at the moment, isn't it? There
are a few things that have changed. For example, around having ultrasounds, whereas in the past it might have been quite a family event with everyone attending, and now a lot of places are only allowing the women to attend or the women and one other person. That's not going to be forever, and it doesn't mean that the ultrasound isn't important, and you can access things at a lot of the ultrasound places to support you with you know, making sure that you get photos for dad or taking photos on your phone and things like that, which are really, really important.
You could record it. You could record it.
You have devices now on social media. That
Absolutely.
To dad or to grandma.
And there has been some changes also to the blood tests that Queensland Health recommends during pregnancy. So a lot of women are very happy that the glucose tolerance
you did yours?
It's actually recommended that we take a step before, so not all women will need to have it done, which has been very positively received.
Will something like that stay in place? Do you think? Like, I'm not saying that I'm having another baby anytime soon or ever.
I don't know. So
that maybe stay in place?
I don't know. I think there's always, you know, we're not getting rid of gestational diabetes, so we do need to continue to screen for that.
100%.
I personally, I sound a bit mean, but I do a lot of glucose tolerance tests in people's houses, and I really love that opportunity to spend that time with a mum, because we have great conversations.
Good yarns,
It's a good opportunity with a lot of time to answer lots and lots of questions.
Awesome.
So,
and it's those questions that you don't think that you should ask, especially as a mum, like a pregnant woman. You don't think you should ask, but you go, I'm just going to ask this because we're just having a really informal yarn. And, you know, it could be about birth. It could be about the care.
everything.
It could be,
There are so many
things.
fun things that women come up with.
Yeah.
And sometimes you've heard it before, and then
Yeah.
other times you've never heard it, and you go, oh my gosh, that one's going in my bank because I'm
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
using that one in the future.
Wow.
Because
And that could be something you could bring up to other people as well that
for sure.
won't even think of it. That's a great
Yeah.
thing I think I love midwives is
Yeah.
they know everything and they
Yeah.
see everything, and especially if they've had children
Yes.
themselves. They all the little like the sneaky things, or all the little nicks and knacks that come with being pregnant, come with birthing,
Absolutely.
and all that stuff. So those conversations I can imagine can get very interesting. And
yes. My job is never boring, which is great.
that's awesome. So I also just want to bring up the importance of preventative health checks. Your breast screening, your pap smears, your 715s, your general 715s, get your Deadly Choices shirt. They're still all happening, aren't they?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so making sure you're getting down to your local community controlled health service to get all those done. If you're unsure, just give them a call where you might need to go. But they are all still happening, aren't they, Christy? All that stuff.
Absolutely. And it's really important. That goes back to self-care, For you to stay strong for your baby, you need to look after your physical being as well. The other thing, and I'm sure no expecting mum really wants to think about this, but contraception.
Yes.
It's something that you do need to consider because there's so many options out there now,
Yep.
I thought there was just a good old pill, but no, apparently there's loads more going on. So, getting educated around what your options actually are and for you and your partner to have a good yarn about what's right for you and your family at what time, so just planning a little bit around that's really important as well.
Yeah. So it's been a really good yarn with you ladies today, and I just think we've taken out of a lot of the self-care stuff around socializing, some really good tips that we've had today that you wouldn't have had any other time. You know what I mean? So these yarns are really, really good to have, very informal, but also at the same time, people need to know this stuff. And once again, like I've always said, don't get offended if that your mob have had a baby and it's 6 weeks and they tell you not to come around. And I think that's something really important that I as a mother love to get out there, and it's nothing personal against you, but it's just going to happen. And so, And
flip it the other way too, right? My niece is having a baby, and I'm respecting her choice for her family unit to bond and grow.
Yeah.
Let them unite as a family unit.
Be in their bubble, like Megan was saying. Yeah.
And then I'm their network of support, you know? So that's the way of looking at it is that give that family unit the opportunity to bond, connect and grow.
Yeah. And that babies don't know who you are. They don't care about you at 6 weeks.
Telling these old girls
Yeah.
that one.
You got aunties and uncles, and you're gonna have to deal with them for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
Just leave it for just 6 weeks, sis. Yeah. But anyway, ladies, Megan on dialing in. Thank you so much for coming in and having a yarn to me on this Mums and Bubs special. It's been a good yarn, and I think a lot of the mob out there, appreciate that. We're still, going on as normal. Things are still happening as normal. There's a few little things and minor changes that you've spoken about of it, but everything, especially when it comes to having babies and being a mum or being a dad, it's all pretty much the same, isn't it? So thank you very much for coming on. Make sure you log into our program podcast. Next one will be next Wednesday. So you'll see in store or what's happening for that. And don't forget to log on to our DC Fit, DC, Deadly Kindies, our Good Quick Tucker, which is happening tomorrow. I think it's a little lunch box special. So, please make sure you're logging on to Facebook and telling all the mob and sharing our links. And, and we'll just have a good yarn and have some fun in the next couple of months. So until then, we'll see you later.